This is only an annual event as long as God puts players in that clubhouse who want to share Christ with you. So we're thankful for both of these guys today. And we're also thankful for the San Diego Padre players who are joining us as well. So thank you guys. Johnny Diaz is a special treat for us today, and we're appreciative of him being here, and he's going to share a few more songs with us after we hear some testimonies of what God is doing in baseball and the lives of these guys in a few minutes. But he does have merchandise on the concourse. Johnny has some CDs available on the concourse, and I want to make sure when you depart today that you get a chance to stop and get some of his great music. First of all, it's a lot easier for the ball players to play first base or pitch or stand at bat. But when they have to open up their hearts and share their lives, it's a lot different, especially in a much larger crowd than you might find on a Sunday morning in a church in San Francisco. So today I really want to ask you to encourage these guys as they share. I've got some questions for them, and we may have a chance to open up the floor for you all to ask a few questions before we turn it over to Johnny at the end. But I want to start off, he's not used to batting leadoff, but Travis Ishikawa has been a Giant since day one. We drafted him out of high school. He's come through our farm system, and he's done amazing things this year, just having started really, Travis, really in a tough spot. He got hurt before he even got to spring training, and then after getting to spring training, it just took longer to get ready, and then you start the season, fortunately not on the DL, but you're on the club, but I think the at-bats were far and few between. How did you manage that? How did you stay focused, despite the fact you had a totally different role? In the minor leagues you played every day, and now suddenly you're sitting on the bench.
We'll start off, like Bobby said, getting hurt, just being real athletic, falling down my stairs at home, tearing some ligaments in my foot, and I got to spring training, I was already falling behind. I think I missed the first month of spring training, so I only had about 3 weeks to kind of get myself ready to play. Talking with the trainers, realized, Aubrey was going to be the everyday first baseman, and, I was going to get starts here and there and play some defense, maybe pinch hit. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise to actually have some of the time off to allow my foot to continue to heal. I just, as you've all seen, I wasn't expecting to have quite as much time off as I would have hoped for. I guess we had so many off days in April, and I was coming in for Aubrey to play defense for the last 2-3 innings of the game, so he never needed time off. And but it was definitely a struggle. It was tough, after 8-9 years in the minor leagues and in the big leagues and playing every day. It was definitely a different circumstance, different situation. Not being able to play, not being able to try to help contribute to the team's wins, and it came to the point where I had to focus on the things that were controllable, not things that I couldn't control. I couldn't control if I was going to be in the lineup. I couldn't control if I was going to get a start. I couldn't even control if I was going to get a hit when I got in. All I could really focus on was trying to go to the field every day. If I wasn't in the lineup, preparing each day. If they needed me to play defense, to be the best defensive replacement I could be. Or if they needed me to pinch hit, to be the best possible pinch hitter I could be. And just focusing on continuing to try to work hard and prepare in every situation that they were going to call me on. That's what I was trying to do.
Okay, Travis. Now, baseball's not all that you're about. You're a father, husband, but yet you've got to show up at the park, rain or shine, you've got to be here. And recently your wife, Rochelle, was in the hospital. She's pregnant. They're concerned that she stay, as long as through that 9-month period as possible, but she's in the hospital, but yet you're here and the lineup's posted and you've got to play. How are you managing to balance that? I know folks out here, everyone's trying to balance work and family, faith, ministry, but yet you were challenged maybe with the best of them. How did you manage that situation?
Well, definitely, the family is very high on my list, and when I got that phone call during BP one day, found out that my wife was having some preterm labor type contractions, and there was already kind of a sense of urgency because our second child was 6 weeks early. So, at the time, right now, Rochelle was about 2 months early from being her due date. And so to find out she was going to the hospital really kind of got me scared. I called her. She told me that she's having a lot of contractions. She was heading to the hospital. And at first I didn't know if I was going to be able to play that day. But I didn't want to just leave and then have it be nothing. So, I played that day. It wasn't until the last at bat when I found out that she actually had gone into preterm labor. So I rushed to the hospital that night, of course, after the game, and stayed through the night, and they were doing everything they could. The contractions weren't stopping. But I'll tell you what, when I got to the field that next day, I was so confident in God. I knew that no matter what was going to happen, if the baby was going to be born today or if it was going to go full term, I knew that God's plan for his life had already been taken care of. It's already predestined. So whether or not he was going to be born or not, I knew he was going to be all right. And that really helped me to focus when I would get to the field, to prepare to play. I ended up playing 4 or 5 games while she was in the hospital staying overnight. And with God's strength and God's mercy, I was able to focus on the job at hand. It would have been great if I could have gotten a few hits, but my mentality was there to help the club win, knowing that God had our back.
Amen.